Preface Prepper. And this video today, guys, I've got a very special guest with me, Andrew from Prime Medical.
Hey, Lucas.
Nice to have you out, man.
Thanks, man.
And he's going to share with you some great medical advice, and after that, we're going to share with you some info about the expo coming up here in Sevierville, Tennessee.
Well, so today, we're going to talk about a few things that you can do. It's great. We teach wilderness first aid and other kinds of medical training, but all of those have in the back of our minds, we think, well, we do this until help arrives, or we do this until we can get them to definitive care. But when you're in a situation where the system that we have in place, the medical healthcare system has fallen, there is no definitive care, there's some additional things that we have to keep in mind. And so survival medicine is a whole different look at how to treat people for the long haul. And there's three things in particular that I want to share with you guys today. The first is tourniquets. There's a lot of research that's come out in the past year and a half, 2 years, that are really changing the way we treat massive hemorrhaging or bleeding. And the military's been doing this for a long time. In the civilian world, they've kind of gone back and forth and said, well, we don't like tourniquets, or we do like tourniquets. It's a last resort. You're going to lose a limb if you do it. Right now, we're at this place where we can do tourniquets and actually save their limb. Studies have shown that tourniquets can be applied and left on for up to 24 hours, and people's limbs are still saved. And that's because of the way we're doing tourniquets now. And so I'm going to kind of demonstrate that for you. It's a life-saving tool that if somebody is bleeding out massively and we're unable to stop it by any other means, tourniquet is what we can turn to, and we now have a way to be able to treat that in the field without losing their limb and without them having to go to the hospital and go to surgery. So what you're going to want to do is you want to have some sort of material. I personally love triangular bandages, as you can see here. These are so versatile. You can use them for a myriad of different things. In this case, we're going to use them for a tourniquet, and you want to be able to create about a 2-inch piece of fabric. It could be a shirt, it could be this triangular bandage, whatever. And I'm going to use Lucas's arm here, and let's say that he had a massive gash, or his arm was cut off here. Wherever the injury is, you want to go 2 inches above that. So 2-inch width for your tourniquet, and then 2 inches above that gash, and you're going to wrap it around. Do one simple knot like this, and then you're going to need to use some sort of stick, screwdriver, whatever, and we're going to stick it underneath the triangular bandage and start twisting. Now, in the past, we would twist until the bleeding stopped, and then we would succeeded in stopping the bleeding, but that is not the goal here. The goal here is to twist until the bleeding slows down just enough to where we can then go and apply some dressing to that wound and stop it. So that allows us then to have some circulation so we don't lose the limb. And that is a game changer in tourniquets. So you'll notice here, if I was to let go, that it's going to untwist. So when you finally get it to a place where it's slowed down and you're able to stop it with some dressing, then you would just tie the tourniquet down so that it doesn't unwind. And that's how we apply tourniquets. And after several hours, once it's stopped or once we're able to stitch it back up, we could then release the tourniquet. There are some precautionary things that you have to worry about, like toxins that build up in the arm, but those kind of things can be treated with some medication and some fluids, which is another topic. Another thing that is super common that people don't really know a whole lot about, and we're just starting to learn about, is concussions. People get knocked in the head all the time, and in the past we thought, man, a concussion is when you got a good knock to your head and you passed out, and what do we do with people who have concussions? We don't let them sleep. So that has been the long-standing belief, and now we're finding out that concussions really have nothing to do with the head itself. It's more the brain, and it's a bruising of the brain. So basically what happens is if you get knocked and you get a sudden jolt, you move forward and your brain moves forward too, but when you stop, your brain hits the inside of your head, and then a lot of times too, it comes back and hits the back side of your head. So it's bouncing around inside your head, and you're bruising up your brain, and that's what causes a concussion. So you don't even really have to hit your head. Like, you could be in a car wreck, slammed forward, and you never hit your head anywhere, but just that motion of moving forward and then the sudden stopping and your brain hits can cause a concussion. Well, what we want to do is we want to look for signs and symptoms of like slurred speech, loss of consciousness, severe headaches, those kind of things. If we see that, then we're going to want to take the person, put them in a dark room, and leave them for 24 hours. If they want to sleep, that's fine. You can check in on them every few hours to see if their symptoms are getting better or worse. But that's a massive game changer. The biggest thing with concussions is not to just brush it off. Like, oh, okay, he came to, he seems fine. Well, let's just keep doing what we were doing. People need rest. If they don't get the rest, the concussions, if there's any kind of re-injury or just being out in the sunlight and the strain on your eyes can cause re-injury to the brain. And then long term, you can be dealing with some pretty serious things. And I'll mention this over and over when I talk about wilderness medicine and survival medicine, but the most important thing is being proactive and preventing injuries from happening. And that's such a key part of medical training, is just knowing how to prevent further problems from happening. So make sure that you take those people, put them in a dark room, and do that for about 24 hours, see if they improve or not. If they're still not improving, they earn themselves another 24 hours in a dark room, and we're just trying to let the brain heal and repair itself.
That's pretty interesting. That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Isn't it? And you can go, here's the thing, you can go and talk to tons of doctors and different people, and most of them would not know this. It is such new information that a lot of medical providers, unless they are in emergency medicine or something along those fields, are not aware of the new findings on concussions. So a lot of people will still, like a lot of doctors, nurses, whatever, will still tell you, oh yeah, we need to let them sleep or whatever. But it's a pretty big deal. I think out in California, they're not even letting grade school kids play football anymore or play tackle football anymore. It's all two-hand touch because of how serious these concussions are and all the things that they're finding out about what they've been doing to people. So yeah, it's a big deal. Some of you might be familiar with this. It's an EpiPen, and an EpiPen contains epinephrine, which our body produces naturally, and it's been synthesized and put in here. And these are life-saving. Like, you can use this for people who are having a severe anaphylactic reaction or a severe allergic reaction, and they are a great life-saving tool. What you would do is you would pull the blue top off. You're going to grab the EpiPen in a fist-like motion. You don't want to put your thumb on either side, because if you thought that this was the right side but you accidentally put it on the needle side, you could jab yourself.
That'd be exciting.
It'd be exciting for sure. I know a couple people who've done that before. So always make sure you have a good habit of grabbing it like this, and then you would just jab into the side of your leg and hold it there for 10 seconds. But that doesn't sound like survival medicine. Here's the tip, guys. People don't realize that inside of this vial here is a reservoir of epinephrine. Like, just because you used it, there is still about 2 milligrams of epinephrine in here. And the amount that you got was about 0.3 milligrams. So you have quite a bit extra to use for several more times. So one of these, if you were able to break it apart, you would find some more in the vial that you could manually then push. And it can be used, again, for other allergic reactions. It can also be used in the case of somebody who goes into cardiac arrest and they're needing to have CPR done on them and things like that. So there's a lot of uses for this. We use epinephrine for a couple different things, and one of these can go a long way. And there's some tips and tricks as well. You have to get a prescription for this, but any doctor will prescribe this to you. Even if you don't have an apparent need, just because they're so useful, doctors will prescribe them and just let you carry them around. And then also, it says that it'll expire in a year, but that is not the case. Medication is so the medical industry and the medication industry is really all about the money, and so they'll tell you, yeah, it expires in a year, but the reality is this thing will last and have potency for several years. And just because it's expired doesn't mean it's gone bad. It just means it's starting to lose its potency. And so you can stop drugs for a long time, and they're still going to be able to do what they need to do. 5 years after the expiration date, may or may not be as potent, but it's still going to be good. It's not like spoiled milk or something like that where you can't drink it anymore. But those are just a few of the things that you can learn, and obviously there's a lot more long-term things as well, as far as medications and antibiotics, and then just treating wounds. Wound care is a really big deal. Burn care. Those are all huge medical topics that we would cover in the survival medicine class. And we were talking about how we're going to be at the expo. I know you're teaching a couple classes,
right?
And I'm going to be there as well. We've got a booth that we're setting up, but we're also going to be teaching a free CPR class. So Saturday and Sunday we're going to be doing 2 classes both days, and people can sign up, come to the class for free, and we're going to have some more materials, some videos that we're going to be selling that goes more in depth on survival medicine. But we're really looking forward to being there and putting this stuff on. But there's a lot to it. Medicine is a huge topic, and there's a lot that can be discussed as far as long-term care and survival medicine. So yeah, that's all I got here today.
I'm just glad to have you out, and I mean, I think it's exciting for us is that, everybody that knows me knows I'm an electrical guy. I can fix your house, I can't fix your body, and it's like to know that we have people in our area that can teach other people and are very knowledgeable about what they're doing. That's great, because that's just one more facet in being prepared, and for whatever may come.
Oh yeah. And we don't realize how much we need medical care. I mean, maybe we don't go to the hospital all the time, but we sure go to CVS or Walgreens and we'll pick up, a bottle of this or a bottle of that. Well, when you don't have that anymore, what are you going to do when you're not able to self-treat because you don't have some of the conveniences that we have, like the pharmacies and grocery stores? It becomes a real issue, and one little thing can completely immobilize you and your family if you don't know how to treat it. And so it's a huge topic, and I just feel like a lot of people don't think about that aspect when they're thinking about prepping and preparing for survival type situations. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I've learned 2 things right here today. Is that the EpiPen? I thought that was a one-off.
Yeah,
I thought that was a one shot and you're good.
Yep.
And the fact about concussions, I really didn't know that, because a lot of people, whenever they do get a concussion or a sign of it, they just go right on about business after they figure out it's like, hey, I'm okay, and then they're right back out at it. That the fact that your brain needs to heal, and not only that, but have a dark space, that's another thing. I didn't even know that. So.
And the ramifications of not treating concussions properly are going to be things like severe migraines, seizures, and these are ongoing things that you can have for the rest of your life if you don't stop and treat it appropriately from the start when you get the concussion. So it's a big deal. Like we said, preventative care, doing things that's going to prevent you from having other complications later on down the road is a big part of it. So working smarter, not harder.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now the classes that you're going to be teaching, now they're available on your website, right? The sign-ups for it will be available on your website.
They are going to be available on the website. We've got to put the page together. We're still doing one specifically for the Prepper Expo, but for right now, if you go to our website, it says classes and then survival medicine, and so you can go there, and we're going to have some more information up there about the different classes that we're going to be offering. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, this is good information. If you're local, definitely make sure to check Andrew and them out. It's worth taking the training, because one day You won't have a doctor. One day you won't have a pharmacist.
Yeah.
All these people, it's just going to dissolve. Even in a grid down situation, just something very simple like that happens every winter around here. Somebody's always throwing down on Facebook, oh my gosh, the power's out.
Right.
What if I need to get the doctor or something like that? You know, all this stuff's always going on. So it's good to be prepared because it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so the website, I don't think we mentioned it, the website is primemedicaltraining.com, and that's where you can go for information or to contact us if you have more questions. We'd love to answer those for you.
Awesome.
So-
Andrew, thanks so much for coming out.
Thanks so much, Lucas. Appreciate it.
And guys, until we see you again here at the channel, I hope you have a most blessed day in Yahushua's name.